You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here is your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
Well, good morning, everybody. I am Glenn the Geek in Ocala, Florida.
And I'm Jamie Jennings in Norman, Oklahoma. You're listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for Wednesday, July 16th, episode 3734, brought to you today by Poseidon Animal Health. Good morning, horse people.
Ah, Wednesday, the day we cover Glenn's favorite topic, horse health. And Jamie makes you feel better about yourself with the latest weird news from around the world.
Let's go!
Happy Wednesday!
Well, that's right. It is a happy Wednesday, and we're glad that you're here. We have a fun show planned for you today. Dr. Erin Roddy of Poseidon Animal Health is going to come back. She's one of our favorite guests. She's so good at explaining stuff, and she's going to answer listener horse health questions that they've put to us. We got way more than we could answer in the time allowed, so we're gonna tackle 3 of them today. Thank you for everybody for their questions. And also, one of our longtime listeners and author, Mary Curran, is going to join us and talk about her mystery series of books. She has 3 out now. I think we had her on a couple years ago. She only had 1. So she's been a writing fool, and she's going to join us. Plus, we have some mighty weird news. And then in the Otter Post show, Jamie went to see a new toy of hers, and she brought the family along, and we're going to find out about that. Did you hear about the 15-year-old kid in Florida? Is this in your weird news?
No, it's not, because this is, I'm sorry, this is somebody who's really stupid. Go ahead. Well, not that all 15-year-old girls are smart, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, come on. So this girl's name is Summer, and she was wading in waist-deep water. By the way, people do that in Florida. They do go in the water with her friends, and an alligator.
In a pond. In a pond in Florida.
I've done that, though, too. I've done that, too. The alligator, estimated to be 10 feet long based on her bite marks, latched onto her leg, and she is a Florida girl because she proceeded to beat the alligator in the head. She immediately went into beat the alligator in head mode, which is what you're supposed to do, by the way. And the alligator released her, but only to grab her leg again and dragged her underwater, but she didn't quit. She kept beating the alligator until it left her go. She managed to get away from the alligator, and her friends got her up onto the bank and got her to help, and she's fine. Everything's going to be fine. She's not losing a leg or any of that. But yeah, she definitely is a tough Florida girl because she knew to beat the alligator to get it off. I'm not sure I would have the wherewithal to do that.
Do not go in a pond in Florida. What is wrong with you? My mother lived on the St. Johns River for 25 years, and we would go down and just take a spotlight on that giant river and just use the spotlight at night, and you could see their glowing eyeballs. And this is a giant river. The last place I would ever be is in a small, dirty, the place is called Pond Creek. Like, gross. Don't go in there. Don't go in there.
Yeah, we have one of the most popular rivers right here in the little town we live in of Denellen for people to go kayaking, for people to go inner tubing, and all of that stuff right here because the water's so clear. And yep, they're there. On a different note, I've had a couple.
What is wrong with people?
There was a recent incident where the alligator took and basically chomped a part of the kayak out.
Yeah.
So I think they're getting mad at these humans taking over their space now.
Just head north, and it's breeding season apparently too.
Yes, when they're having babies, it's like bears. You don't want to be between the alligator and the babies. On a lighter note, I've been getting a lot of our listeners writing to me about gluten-free stuff because they know I've been for a long time. I got to recommend a company for all you gluten-free listeners out there. And you all know that the bread you buy at stores tastes like cardboard. It's awful. And we've tried 1,000. I've been gluten-free for 20 years, and we've tried it all. And it's just bad. Jennifer's gluten-free now, too. But it's just bad. I have found the bread that tastes the best. We make it in the bread maker. We buy it from a company called Mom's Place. It's online. Just search for Mom's Place. Everything they sell is gluten-free, and everything they sell, we've tried a bunch of it now, is excellent. Their cookies are good. Their cakes are good. Their bread is phenomenal. It tastes like bread, which is crazy because we've never had that with gluten-free bread before. It is great stuff. I usually end up ordering like 10 different packs of stuff at a time because then you get free shipping. But it's Mom's Place. If you're gluten-free, my brother's now, he's gluten-free. He's now buying from there and loves it. So we're always looking for that place where to get the really good. It's better than the Bob's Mill stuff. Mom's Place, I don't know what magic they put in it, but it's really good. So,
oh my God. I was just telling you before the show that I don't eat breakfast before the show. And now I'm looking at Mom's Place's website and freaking starving.
And this is not a paid commercial. This is just, we spent years trying to find something to eat in the bread family that was gluten-free. And Mom's Place just has their cookies. It's just all good. So you can get soft pretzels. We haven't made those yet. I have them. I'm going to try those. But yeah.
So they send you like the actual dough,
or they
pack.
Send you everything you need to make it is in that one pack.
Okay.
And I make our bread in the bread machine, which you throw the ingredients in and let it for 3 hours, and you have bread. So yeah, definitely like that. Not a paid commercial, but if they want to be, you can reach me at glenn@horseradionetwork.com.
Yeah, right.
If you go by, if you go by from them, put in the comments that you heard it on Horses in the Morning. All right, Daily Whinnie time. Oops, there we go. Happy birthday to a couple of our terrific auditors, Nan and Bethany. Happy birthday to both of you. And also, terrific horse husband out there, Ray. Ray, happy birthday to you as well. I'm going to see Ray hopefully later this year. And a happy 37th anniversary to my wife, Jennifer, Coach Jen. Happy anniversary, dear. 37 years. I know because I looked at the plate that's on our wall and it says 1988 was when we got married. So it's 37 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you
for remembering.
We did remember. It's a hard thing.
So I get this particular medicine. My awesome vet will call in a prescription and it's called Simparico or Simparico or something like that. And it's a flea, tick, and heartworm all in one pill. So they have to call it into the pharmacy. And I was going through all this, it was taking a long time to kind of get all the heartworm tests together and this together and all this stuff to get them to call in. They finally called in and got the prescription the day before I left for Colorado. So my prescription has been sitting at Costco for several days and they keep calling me. They're like, we got to put it back. We got to put it back. Sorry, we're going to have to restock it. And they have to go through this whole thing all over again. So I had to take Harmon to chemo yesterday, but I can't do anything when he's with me because I can't just leave him in the car. This is a long story to tell you that on the way home, I was like, I've got to pick up these prescriptions at Costco, but I've got Homer in the car and he just had chemo, which when he comes out of chemo, he's super excited and happy. It's not like sick or anything. But I'm like, Costco keeps calling. I'm going to go through all this again. So I called Costco and I was like, hey, I have my dog in the car and he just left the vet and I need to go into the Costco pharmacy to pick up some medication, but there's no drive-through. Like I legit have to walk into Costco through the entire store to go to the very back corner.
That's where they always put the pharmacy back there.
Yeah, so far. So I'm like, what do I do? It was crazy. So I call and I got passed around to like 4 different people that kept putting me on hold and passing. I was like, can I please bring my dog in? Is it a certified, whatever? No, it's just a dog that was the vet. I can't leave it in the car, but
can you bring my medicine out to me?
Throw stuff again. Yeah, I was like, will the person at the front checking the carts just hold the dog? Like, what can I do? So I wanted to give a shout out to manager Stephanie. Not that she knows who I am or whatever, listen to this, but it was so nice. She allowed me to park up front, leave the car up front, come out and bring Homer out into the Costco. So Homer got to go with me to like my favorite place. And it was so cute. So I sent you a picture, Glenn, if you want to use it for the show.
That is the emptiest Costco I've ever seen.
Yeah, it turns out Tuesday afternoon is not
Oh my God, there was nobody in the aisle.
Yeah, I was in the where all the meds are, but like I went on Sunday and it was like bananas. So Costco on Tuesday around 11 a.m. is a
Perfect.
really smart time to go. But yeah, so Homer got to go in Costco and they were really nice. But of course I get to the place where they're like, kind of see your card, and show them my Costco card to get in. And they were like, well, we need the dog's card too, to show it's a certified therapy dog. And I was like, it's not a certified therapy dog. And she's like, well, then it can't come in. And I was like, Stephanie said it could. And she was like, who's Stephanie? And I was like, your manager. And she's like, come right in. Okay, sounds good. So it was awesome. So I took a picture of Homer in my favorite place, one of my favorite places, Costco, and it was really nice to share Costco with him. And when you take a basset hound like
Anywhere.
Homer anywhere,
Yeah.
oh my God, people take pictures. Like it was like he's an ambassador to basset hounds. So
Well, they
I was
are
really proud.
a unique dog. I mean,
Yeah.
they're probably one of the most unique dogs. I mean, they really are.
You don't see them anywhere because they're such an ass pain to take anywhere.
Yeah, that's right. Because they're a vet bill waiting to happen.
Well, they're like, he's 60 something pounds. He can't jump in the car. I have to lift his little front legs up and put them there. And then he stands while I then lift his hind legs up and put him, and he walks forward with his front legs to get himself in the car. Like, oh my God, he's adorable, but a pain. And so, yeah, it was kind of fun.
All right, we're going to get to our first guest today. She's been a listener of ours for a long time. She's also an author. Her name is Mary Curran, and she has a mystery series of books that we're going to chat about today, and hopefully that you can enjoy. Well, Mary, thanks for joining us again. We really appreciate it.
I am happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Now, I know you live in Florida, but also in Michigan. So are you in Michigan right now?
That's correct. I split my time 6 months, 6 months.
And you went to Michigan to get cool, and it's hot up there. So
It was crazy. I left Florida and it was a feels like of 105. Got back here on Memorial Weekend and it was 40 degrees. And then within a week, it shot up to 105 here.
So there you go. You brought it with you.
I can't win.
So when we talked to you last, you had one book in this series, and now you have three. So tell us about the series.
I've been cooking away.
You have.
So Callie Kinsey is my main character, and there are three arcs. One is that she's learning to ride, and she rides in the hunter jumper world. And so with each book, she learns a little bit more about the discipline, and so therefore so do the readers. But there's also her career. She's a journalist, and there's also her love life. And all
This
three,
looks a lot like the author. Is there some
I know,
inspiration
they say
there?
write what you know, write what you know. But all three things are seriously affected by the crimes that she routinely encounters. So, and in book 2, by the way, she actually buys the horse facility and she learns what a huge cash cow that can become. So that's been a fun little
You
add-on
did bring
in
all
there as
reality into these books.
well. Yeah.
Well, and the third one, this is just out, isn't it?
Correct. The third one is brand new.
Okay, so the first one is Divas Till Death. The second was A Secret, A Psychic, and a Scam. I love that title. That's a great title, by the way.
Great title.
Yeah, that makes you want to read the book. And then the third one is Rattled by Risque. And apparently you got a porn star involved in this book.
Yeah, it's awesome. So here she is trying to run this barn and make things legit. And her trainer brings in a childhood friend who's, quote, retiring from the porn star world. But I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. Her horse's name is Goldilocks, but they find out she spells it Loxxx. And they end up going down to Wellington, premier horse show, and she's mortified to have this gal in the mix. And then even more mortified when Callie, my main character, finds out that she's a victim of a sextortion.
Oh, geez.
So it sounds racy, but it's actually all nice, fun humor.
You don't do the straight up murdery books, do you? You that's what I like about your books is they're a little different. There's a twist on it.
We're such a perfect pair, your radio show with my books, because there's a serious crime, a serious murder mystery, but I like that little bit of entertainment and quirkiness to go along with it. So, and that's why I've been really proud of my reviews. People are like, this is a straight up mystery, but it's really fun.
We should start. That's our new subtitle for this show, the quirky one. That's
I thought you were going to say something about a murder mystery. I was like, what?
Yeah, that would be a little scary.
So who is
Horses
this?
in the Morning, the secrets, the psychics, and the scams.
Yeah, that's right. So who are these books targeted to?
I'd say that they're targeted for people that like a Stephanie Plum novel, people that like Dick Francis, but maybe want a little bit of a more light side to it.
Less racetrack.
Yeah, people that want a nice escape read. So they're a good vacation read, a good sit by the pool read. I've been finding that I've been invited to a lot of book clubs, which really surprised me because you think of them as reading more literary fiction, but they like what they call a palate cleanser. So if you've been reading a lot of heavy duty books and it's summer and we just want to relax with something a little lighter, this is a nice mystery, a solid mystery, but you get exposed to a world you might not know, which in my case is the hunter jumper world. And you also get to have a little fun with the characters.
Now, is any of the love life stuff based on your personal experience? No. Okay.
No,
Just
gonna
checking.
say no to that.
Just
She dates a guy named Cute. She dates a guy named Cute Cop, and in A Secret, a Psychic, and a Scam, she meets a debonair man down in Wellington that really sweeps her off her feet, but almost to the point of death.
Oh, there you go. I was going to say, and then
So
dumps her,
she's-
but apparently it was a little worse than that.
Yeah,
So-
no, it's a little worse than that. When you say sweeps her off her feet, it was literally knocking her off a ski hill. So
Oh,
I thought of a new tagline for our show, Glenn. Horses in the Morning, the palate cleanser. Love
see, I told you there's a lot of similarities here.
I want to touch on. Can I mention your fourth book that you're doing?
Yes,
Okay.
I'd love it. I'm
So-
actually doing research for it right now.
Well,
and
I have
some
somebody
help.
you can talk to do the research,
excellent.
actually. So the fourth book is going to discuss fox hunting, and my wife was a fox hunter for years,
Oh,
and also
awesome.
ran one of the wealthiest fox hunting barns in the country. So you need to spend a little time on the phone with her. She could help you out.
Oh, absolutely.
So-
Tell Jennifer to expect a phone call.
Yes, she has stories.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is that, I tell you I exposed Callie to something a little bit different in the horse world in each book, and this one's going to be fox hunting. What's interesting is I don't want to have an opinion on it, but I'd like to truly represent the reality of that world. And it's interesting because animal lovers fox hunt, but other animal lovers are the protesters. So
Yeah, and
I'd like
to be
get
fair, though,
people's opinions on that.
Most of the fox hunts in the country now don't hunt foxes anymore. They do drag hunts. So
Correct.
they're
Yep,
not hunting
exactly.
anything but a scent. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And I promise nothing, no animals ever die in any of my books.
Okay, good.
Only people.
There you go. See, we're okay with that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Don't kill a dog, then we're out. That's like,
Exactly.
yes. And, that's true, though, because how many times have we discussed movies where a horse dies, right, or gets killed, and then we're all like, I'm not watching that.
Exactly.
We're out of that
exactly.
one.
No, there's a very strong moral or ethical code. You cannot kill an animal.
Now, I'm going to throw this out there because I'm going to put this into the universe, Mary. Two of our
Okay.
hosts for our shows here on the Horse Radio Network now have TV and movie deals for their books.
Your turn.
Your turn.
Oh, thank you.
Throwing it out there.
Thank you. I love it. I'm on it.
And they're progressing. It looks like they're getting made. So I'm wishing you luck there. This sounds like it would be a good series, actually.
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, some people compare it to a Hallmark because I have to say, even though we discuss some of the risque elements, no on-page violence, no swearing. They're pretty clean. So I've been
Hallmark,
told
you need to
a
throw in a
number
little
of
sex,
times-
though, for Hallmark.
Well, there's the love life. She does
Yeah.
have her torn love life.
And it
so.
has to be a good-looking guy that runs a flower stand in the middle of nowhere.
Okay,
Christmas
so
tree
let me just stress that. That's one of the big things I was after when I wrote these books. I enjoy an easy, light read, but I was getting so sick of the sugar sweet, the cookie mystery and the cookie crumbled and the, chocolate
Yeah.
fudge shop. And so I wanted something that was a little more sophisticated,
So he's in a
But-
coffee shop.
but
Yeah,
enjoyable.
that's right. He's
Yeah,
in a-
exactly.
He
There's
works in the
lattes.
Apple store.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So I really don't consider myself Hallmark. I think, what do you think? Maybe Netflix,
Yeah,
HBO,
this could
something
be
like
on
that.
Netflix. Yeah.
Okay.
Apple
Yeah.
TV.
Well,
I'm in.
Apple TV. Yeah, there you go. You'll take any one of them, let's be honest.
Listen, we're going to manifest it right this minute. I appreciate
By the
that.
way, for all the Hallmark lovers, and I know we have some listeners that do, because I just want to say, without Hallmark's Christmas movies, we would lose half our content in December.
That's
Hey,
true.
and let me just give you a little heads up. It's I might happen to be a watcher myself. It's Christmas in July.
I know. We're going to cover that next week, Jamie. We're going to cover some of the Christmas in July movies that are now out.
Yeah. I love
wait.
Hallmark movies. I really do. I can't say it. I can't lie.
Where can they
I
get the
know.
books,
I'm with you, girl.
Mary?
Thank you for asking. So the main source, of course, is Amazon. That's the easiest place to get them. If you go to my webpage, which is marycurranbooks.com, it will have a QR code to take you there, or actually Instagram or Facebook, Mary Curran Books. I also have, if I could just mention this, I have some little stickers that we've made for shout outs. So if I could get a leg up from anybody in the horse community, it's so hard to get traction these days. So if anybody wants to give me a shout out on their social page, we have little stickers that you can cut and paste and spread the word.
Okay, great. And we're going to do something today. Mary has kindly agreed for us to give away a set of all 3 books. So you get Divas Till Death, a Secret, a Psychic, and a Scam, and Rattled by Risque. So we're going to send all 3 out to a lucky winner. I'm going to say the 10th person to email me. So email me at Glenn, 2 N's, at horseradionetwork.com, and just put Mary's books in the subject line, Mary's books, and that'll tell me that you want to win. And put your address in the email, so I have your address and where we can send them. And Mary's kind enough to agree to send it out to the 10th person to send me an email.
You don't want caller number 124?
No.
You don't want to do that again? No.
I should have them leave voicemails, and then we could play them. But in the meantime, we'll just do emails. Thank you, Mary, for agreeing to do that as well.
Oh, I'm excited about it. Thank you for offering.
And we'll put your
Mary,
links in the show notes.
Yes, and Curran is Curran, in case you didn't know.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for that, Jamie. I appreciate that. And when you're on my website, if you sign up for the newsletter, sorry, I have to do my shameless promotions. We sometimes do giveaways there as well, and we'll keep you up to date on when the 4th book's coming out as well.
And I'll put that link in the show notes as well.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Mary.
Oh, thank you both. It was so great to talk to you again. I appreciate it. And thank you for doing such a great job on the show. You know, I'm a great listener.
Non-GMO whole food nutrition is the basis of the entire Daily Dose Equine program. We never forget that natural is better and simplicity is key. Daily Dose Equine uses non-GMO whole food ingredients like alfalfa, timothy, peas, sunflower seeds, and flax. Daily Dose Equine doesn't use fillers, bulking agents, or leftovers from other industries, so you can feed less yet improve body condition and energy. And our feeds are free from chemical residues and glyphosate. Find the perfect formulation for your horse at dailydoseequine.com. Select Daily Dose Equine formulations are available nationwide through chewy.com and tractorsupply.com.
I would love to welcome to the show friend and sponsor Poseidon Animal Health, bringing us Dr. Erin Roddy. Hi, Dr. Roddy.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to do our monthly listener questions about just, we're going to tap into your veterinary days when you were out on the road and you would show up at somebody's house and they would hand you some sort of issue and you would have to diagnose it. But we're not going to give you the benefit of letting you actually look at the horse. We're just going to test your knowledge here and see what suggestions you may have. So we submitted a bunch of questions to our auditors on Facebook and they wrote in with some questions. So if you're ready to get started, we can do it.
I'm ready. It feels like a game show.
I know. I'm going to spin the wheel of horses trying to kill themselves, and then we'll pick one.
Yes. Perfect.
Well, let's start with Kaylin. She says, my horse struggles with performance in the heat. And knowing that you're in Ocala, you probably see this a lot. My horse struggles with performance in the heat. I've upped his daily sodium and he has electrolytes daily this time of year. Any other nutrition tips for recovery, energy needs in the hot and humid weather? I think this is something that not even Ocala, everybody is dealing with. I mean, it's mid-July and here we go. We have horses.
We have horses and it is hot. And this is a question I get all the time. It's something I battle with in my own life and my own performance horses. So this is a really good question. I do have a few nutrition tips. So electrolytes and sodium are really important. Obviously, they keep our horses eating and drinking, which is a big part of keeping them cool. In terms of other nutrition tips, I would just remind everybody that 70 to 80% of the horse's energy comes from fiber fermentation. So we tend to want to go down the road of thinking my horse needs more energy, so maybe I should feed them more starch or grain or fat or something of that nature. And actually, no matter how much of those sorts of things you feed them, they're still going to get the majority of their energy from fermenting fiber. So making sure that we've got good quality fiber and enough of it in the diet, particularly if we're working hard and we're taking a lot out of our horses, not forgetting about good quality fiber is really important. And in fact, sometimes trying to process fat can actually make a horse hotter. So in the winter, feeding them a lot of fat is great because it produces internal heat. But in the summer, if your horse has a lot of fat in their diet, they can actually struggle because it makes them hotter trying to process that. So cutting back on fat a little bit can help, particularly a performance horse, not be so hot. Other than that, there's some really cool ingredients that help horses cope with heat stress, and betaine is one of them. So betaine actually helps the GI tract cope with the stress of being too hot. So it's an osmolyte, and it keeps hydration in the cells, and it allows the cells to not die from being overheated, which is what happens. And that's part of what affects our performance. So those are probably my big nutrition tips. And then other than that, it's really about management, trying to work your horse at the coolest time of the day, even if that means maybe getting them cold before you work them. So wetting them down and putting them in front of a fan to actually really try to lower that internal core temperature will help them have better work stamina, and then also doing the same thing for recovery. So getting the horse as cold as you can. Here in Florida, I often recommend that people have an air-conditioned stall or find an air-conditioned stall if they can, just to get that horse's core temperature down, and that really helps with recovery. And then my last management tip is to actually give your horse 2 days off. So a lot of us will work a horse for 3 to 4 days, give them a day off, and then work them 3 to 4 days. But the new research is showing that actually 2 days off in a row makes a huge difference in their ability to recover and their muscles to bounce back. So those are kind of the things that we can do to help these guys in this bad time.
So almost like giving 2 days off is giving permission for you to have 2 days off. So I have a barn full of horses that do appreciate that piece of advice for sure.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting because it's a little bit different from, I think how most of us have always worked horses, that you don't want to give them, it was the old Monday morning sickness that they would come out and be tied up. And look, certainly feeding a lot of grain and keeping a horse locked up for 2 days isn't the best thing either. But if you've got plenty of turnout and they've got access to being outside, giving them that 48 hours off of exercise really helps with their ability to recover.
So going back to the fiber, you said one of the best things is fiber. What are some of the most important sources of fiber?
So long stem forage, always number one. So obviously hay, pasture, I love feeding alfalfa. I will live and die on the hill of 25% of the diet should be alfalfa. It's a great source of protein for horses. They digest it really well, and it gives them that slow release energy that their muscles need, as opposed to, grain, which is going to be kind of a quick release energy. But there's lots of sources of fiber. So you can have soybean hulls, you can have psyllium hulls. I really love beet pulp. We've talked about beet pulp a lot on this show, but beet pulp will never die for me. It brings up, it also brings a lot of fluid in because you can soak beet pulp. And then we can talk about hay pellets, hay cubes, chopped forage, even chaffs. Those are all different types of fiber, but anything that's not a starch or a grain or an oil or a fat source is a fiber source.
Okay. And then you mentioned Betaine,
betaine. Yep, which is actually a product of producing beet pulp. Yep. So betaine is an osmolite, and the research for betaine actually comes out of feedlot cattle, because the worst thing that you want if you're producing cattle to sell is for them to get to the auction and look skinny, right? And a lot of that, as a boxer or a jockey will tell you, is water weight. So when animals get dehydrated and we pull water out of the GI tract, they look thin or they look tucked up, is an expression that horse people will use. And that's actually just them being dehydrated. They haven't per se lost any condition weight, but they've lost the hydration that sits in their GI tract. So what betaine does is it actually holds on to that fluid and prevents it from being sucked out of the GI tract. And it's actually one of the ingredients that we use in our Poseidon Animal Health product, Stress Paste, which is designed in a lot of parts for use in heat and humidity, because it actually gives the horses that betaine, puts it into the hindgut where they can hold on to the fluid, hold on to the hydration. Because remember that horses are designed to only experience short-term stress. That's what they evolved to deal with. Chased by the lion, you either make it or you don't. It's short-term. In that period of short-term stress, we want to pull fluid from the GI tract and send it into the bloodstream where the muscles need it and the active tissues need it. But for a lot of our modern day horses, we're stressed. I mean, gosh, our horses here in Ocala, they're stressed for about 6 months because it is hot and humid for about 6 months. And there's not usually a lot of break. We had a big storm yesterday. It's a little cooler today, but we might not see that again for a couple of weeks. So those horses are under continuous heat stress. So we're continuously pulling that hydration out of their GI tract, and that kills cells and it damages tissues, and it makes it hard for them to perform and recover like we want. So by putting betaine back in, we're actually stopping the evolutionary process of removing that hydration. So it's a really cool ingredient. And it's one of the reasons I do what I do, because I love being able to use science to help horses do better. And, you know, like Kyla's asked about, we're doing sodium, we're doing electrolytes, but we're getting to the point where it is so hot and humid that isn't really enough, especially if you want a horse to perform. So kind of working with what's evolving in science is really cool to be able to give horses that extra little bit of protection and support that they need.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, Glenn, how many times have we talked about betaine here on the show?
None.
That'd be 0. So
I was thinking that we still learn stuff every day in the show. People ask why we're still doing it. It's because, 15 years later, we're still learning stuff. And that, by the way, that was the best explanation of that I've ever heard.
Oh, yeah, by far.
That's awesome.
It's
betaine
funny.
Is a very, very cool ingredient. I love learning about that kind of stuff.
That's awesome. I never heard that either. Okay, Hillary says, in the Northeast, it's abscess and lost shoe season. What can we do throughout the other times of the year to make sure diet, exercise, and other care practices are contributing to healthy feet year-round? This is obviously assuming you're keeping a regular schedule with your farrier and are following their recommendations. Foot health. Come on, fix it.
Foot health. It's one of my favorites. And you guys know what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you that foot health is linked to gut health, because it is. Just like in a human, if you are healthy, you will grow beautiful, strong nails. You'll grow beautiful hair. You will have beautiful skin. Horses are the same. They grow their feet continuously. So their feet are a direct reflection of what's going on inside. And if their gut isn't working properly, they are not going to grow good, strong feet. One of my pet peeves in the equine industry is that people add biotin into a diet to try to make their horses' feet better. Horses make their own biotin. They're really good at it. That's their job. If their hindgut microbiome is working the way that it's supposed to, and they're getting the appropriate amount of protein in their diet, they will make all the biotin they could ever need. So if you have a horse with poor hoof health, the majority of that problem is coming from poor gut health. So it's either the diet that we're feeding them and it doesn't have enough protein and amino acids and copper and zinc and manganese, which are the really important vitamins and minerals that contribute to hoof health, or your horse's hindgut microbiome isn't working well enough and they're not processing their diet. So again, I'm going to go back to alfalfa, the hill I want to die on. 25 to 30% of the diet in alfalfa makes a huge difference in hoof health. The protein and amino acid content in alfalfa is perfect for horses. It allows them to grow really, really strong hooves. And then we want to make sure that their vitamins and minerals are balanced. And a lot of times we get an imbalance in vitamins and minerals because people are feeding a complete feed, say a senior feed, but their horse doesn't need the 6 to 8 pounds that the senior feed is calculated for that size of horse. But if you're not feeding the 6 to 8 pounds that it says on the bag, you're not giving the appropriate amount of vitamins and minerals, because that's how the feed is actually structured. So that's where we need to add in something like a ration balancer or a good quality vitamin and mineral supplement to make sure our horses are getting those amino acids, the copper, the zinc, the manganese that really contribute. It's really not about biotin. Biotin is produced by the hindgut in the horse if all the other requirements are met. So if we go back, rather than trying to slap a Band-Aid, which for me, biotin is a Band-Aid on the problem, go back to the source of the problem. Am I feeding enough protein? Am I meeting all my vitamin and mineral requirements? If you're doing that, your horse should have really, really strong, healthy feet. And then the only other thing that I recommend is if we kind of think of the hoof as a little bit of a muscle, because a hoof is alive. It's actually live tissue, right? We need to train that foot the same way that we will train a muscle or train the horse's body. And so making sure that the horse isn't spending too much time in any particular kind of environment, so a too dry environment or a too wet environment, and making sure that we're stimulating that hoof in different ways. So one of the things I think that's happened in a lot of our modern riding practices is that we only ride on one surface anymore. So somebody might have a beautiful fiber arena and they just work their horse all day, every day in a fiber arena, or they might only have a grass paddock, or they might only have a sand arena. And so the hoof is designed to see different things. And if it only sees the same thing, it will sort of die a little bit. It will lose its stress resilience. It's like us going to the gym. If you do the exact same exercise over and over again, you're not actually building stress resilience. So trying to bring in a little bit of variety. You want some moisture in the hoof, some dryness, some hard work, some soft work. That just makes that hoof a little bit more stress resilient and a little bit more pliable. So that's something they can do in terms of exercise and care practice to just make sure that foot is staying alive.
Okay, couple things. You mentioned alfalfa is the hill you're going to die on. And I totally get it. And I love, alfalfa and bee pulp has changed my senior's life. However, I have a fluffy, Andalusian who wears a muzzle all the time. Is it okay for him to have alfalfa sometimes? Or is it like, the pluses outweigh the minuses or vice versa?
So alfalfa certainly has a high calorie content. So I know a lot of our fluffier animals, we're worried about their calorie content. And that is definitely something you have to consider. Alfalfa is inherently low in starch and sugar. So it's not dangerous for horses in terms of a metabolic standpoint from a starch and sugar content. But it is calorically dense. It's a legume, so it's more calorically dense than, say, a teff hay or a Rhodes hay or a low starch, low sugar orchard grass hay. But I feel for most horses at 25 to 30% of the diet, it's going to be okay. Sometimes that means we might have to give up something else. Like if we're also getting a senior feed, I would give up the senior feed before I would give up the alfalfa. Now, if we truly have a horse that is stripped to the bones and we still can't get the weight off them and they're being fed alfalfa, I would reduce the alfalfa. But normally in that situation, I tell people to exercise their horse more. And that's usually the answer they don't want to hear because it's the harder answer. It's easier to take stuff away than to do something extra. But we got to remember that our horses are designed to move 18 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times when someone tells me that their horse is too fat, and I say, well, how much do you work them? And they say, probably 3 to 4 days a week for about 20 minutes. I just kind of look at them and go, that's the problem. It's not that you're feeding too much alfalfa. It's that your horse isn't getting enough exercise.
Gotcha.
And that's hard. Sometimes it's physically not possible to give them more, but that is a situation where I'd go, okay, let's really look at this. If your horse has good, strong feet and you don't have any other issues and it's easier to pull the alfalfa out, absolutely. But if someone's coming to me and saying I have weak feet or I've got gastric ulcer issues or I've got other issues and it's either pull out the alfalfa or could we add a couple extra exercise days, I'd push to add the extra exercise days.
It is just so much easier feeding thoroughbreds than chunky. It's just so much easier. Just eat
our
more.
Fluffy guys are so hard.
They're so hard. It's
They're
exhausting.
So hard. I know. And it's just because their microbiome is designed to exist on nothing. You know, they are bred for arid landscapes where there's really not a lot in the feed. And now, you know, we keep them in the US where we have these phenomenally rich feeds and rich pastures, and that's just not what they're designed for, unfortunately. But I do, you know, I do really like alfalfa hay. I do really like alfalfa in some form just because it's so healthy for horses. But obviously every horse is an individual. And I'm hoping that our friend here in the Northeast that has the abscess and lost shoes, I'm hoping that's a thoroughbred and we can just do 25% alfalfa and make their life better.
My fat pony would really like 25% alfalfa. He would
I know your
wonderful.
fat pony would.
Yeah, he would.
But could we work him more?
No, he's stifle issues now, so I got I'm down to just round penning the poor guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I take him on long walks.
And honestly, walking is the best exercise. Like the 45 minutes of walking for a horse is better exercise than a gallop set. And that's what I always try to add in. I try to tell people, especially horses that are stabled a lot, I'm like, could you just get out for an afternoon hack in addition to your morning workout routine? And you'd be amazed how much of a difference that makes mentally, physically, in getting the calories off, in fitness. Just 45 minutes of walking a couple days a week extra. That's the best thing you can do.
Now, the last one had no name on it. It was anonymous, but it says, we have a horse who has struggled with hives, rain rot, and other allergy issues this year. What would be the recommended course of action? And what are some of the best over-the-counter treatments?
Was this Glenn?
No, it could have been.
Question?
You know what, though? You saw the whole list. We got about 10 of these kind of questions.
Oh, I mean, skin stuff is absolutely, particularly here in Florida, but I think everywhere, skin in the summer, that's the bugbear, right? And, you know, I feel like I'm going to start calling out to the crowd to answer this question. Skin is just like feet. It's a reflection of the horse's GI tract. So the GI tract is where the immune system in the horse lives. 70% of the immune system is in the GI tract.
That's true in humans too, isn't it?
It's true. I believe so. Yeah. When the immune system isn't working, we're going to get inflammation that comes through the GI tract into the bloodstream. And that inflammation is going to take residence somewhere. And in a lot of our horses, it takes up residence in their skin and they stop being able to mount the correct immune defense against either bacteria, which is what causes rain rot, or the onslaught of bugs that we have, which is what usually causes hives, or other allergy issues. And that is a failure of the immune system. So for me, in the long term, I always want to talk about improving gut health. So obviously we're going to improve the diet, fiber first. If we can, 25% of alfalfa, reducing starch, reducing grain. And then we also want to make sure that microbiome is functioning well, because the microbiome and actually the lining of the GI tract is our barrier defense against inflammation. And when that starts to fail, that's where we see all of these issues that come from inflammatory processes. So doing things that help the microbiome, you know, I love in our digestive HP that we have not only buffers and amino acids, but we have pre and postbiotics. And those are going to feed the microbiome, make it healthier, make it stronger, and help reduce inflammation. So over time, doing those good gut health practices, good diet, feeding things that are going to support the microbiome, they're going to solve your problems. In the short term, if we're really uncomfortable, there's a couple of things we can do. So obviously keeping horses dry is really important, whether that's in a stall with a fan on or having a shelter that they can get out of. That really helps. Removing bugs as much as possible. So again, stalls with fans or using fly sheets if you live in a place that's okay. For us here in Ocala, it really is just too hot and humid for fly sheets in the day in particular. Removing manure. Wherever there's standing water or there's manure, you are going to have bugs. And wherever there's bugs, they're going to bite your horses. In terms of over-the-counter treatments, you do have a few choices. Steroids are one. They will reduce the inflammatory aspect quickly, but we can't use steroids all the time. If it's a long-term chronic problem, I do like Zyrtec. You do not have to buy brand name Zyrtec. You can buy, you know,
Costco,
Walmart brand.
Yeah,
you can buy Costco
I
or
get
Walmart brand.
I get it for Scooter actually in the 600 count on Amazon, and it's $9.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the cetirizine is the active ingredient that you're looking for. It is quite a number of pills. So, you know, most horses are going to get sort of 25 pills twice a day, which can be a little bit tricky for people to get their horses to eat that. But that is, for me, it's pretty safe for horses to be on long term. It's fairly inexpensive. And so in sort of a short to long term, couple weeks, couple of months, while we're trying to keep our horses comfortable, keeping them covered, keeping them out of the rain, out of the bug infested areas, and then using that cetirizine. Or if you want to consult with your veterinarian and the horse needs steroids, that's another option. But in long term, if this is something that's happening every season, I would be looking at that gut health, looking at the diet, and then looking at what ingredients can we add, prebiotics, postbiotics, and amino acids in a good gut health supplement that are going to improve that microbiome and reduce overall body inflammation.
Couple things thinking about, you mentioned steroids. Those also usually aren't compatible with our fluffy horses. So I think it's fantastic that basically Poseidon Animal Health has done the work for you. Do you suggest your gut, I guess, the feed through like every day and the stress paced, like when you're traveling or something? I mean, because to me, this is like a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. So Digestive HP is our everyday feed through, and that's designed to do the whole of the gut. And I know we had a million more questions, and we had questions about ulcers and stomach health, and anything in the GI tract, HP is going to protect and support against that. So it's a phenomenal product in terms of just being a set and forget. It's every day. It does the whole of the gut. It's going to solve a lot of these inflammatory issues, and it's going to improve the hind gut health, and it's also going to help your stomach. And then stress paste is for exactly how it's named. Anytime our horses are going to be stressed. So maybe that means that they're showing in Ocala in the summer. Maybe that means they're traveling. Maybe it means we've got a monsoon coming. Maybe they're just stressed out because you had 200 mils of rain and now the mosquitoes are out and they're being eaten alive by mosquitoes. Yeah. Whatever it is that is stressing your horse out, stress paste is going to help them in those extra times. So we're trying to make it really easy. One product every day, that's the HP. And then anytime you think your horse is stressed, or maybe you're stressed and it makes you feel better, you can give stress paste.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I will tell you that you talked about bugs, and I know we're running out of time, Glenn, sorry, but like, talking about bugs, I know you know about this product, but just this morning, my husband and I were talking about it because I ride at 6 a.m. and there's no flies in my barn. Like last year or the year before that, I had so many flies. And this year I have been so dialed in with the fly predators that it is absolutely crazy how many less flies I have in my barn. And when they're outside, I mean, I keep the predators in my barn because I want my barn to be a place of no stress. And so between the Digestive HP, the fly predators, I don't want to say it. I don't want to jinx myself, but my horses are like, they're fine. What is, I got knock on wood.
So good.
Knock on wood.
So good. So good.
That's all we can hope for with horses is that they're fine.
They're fine. You know what? If they are fine, you are winning.
Yeah, that's right. They're never great. We're just hoping for fine.
We're just hoping for fine.
Yeah.
They're
fine. But I think reducing, bugs are stressful for horses. And that's what we're learning more and more about horses, is that actually so much of just the way that we daily manage them is stressful. And I know I get stressed out when the flies are bugging me, and I'm only out there for, a couple of hours at a time. Being out there 24/7.
I have one in my kitchen, Dr. Roddy, and I lose my mind with the one in my kitchen.
I get it. So yeah, anything we can do to minimize their stress, and then where we can't minimize stress, if we can give them things that help increase their resiliency to it, then I think we're doing the best thing by the horses. And I know that's what we all want to do.
PoseidonAnimalHealth.com. You guys, Dr. Roddy has forgot more about horses than any of us will ever know. So she says, get it. I say, get it. It's a fantastic product. PoseidonAnimalHealth.com. Dr. Roddy, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you guys. It's always fun. And I hope we answered some people's questions, and I look forward to doing it again.
Sick of fly sprays that smell terrible, don't work, and are full of toxic ingredients? Try Bye Bye Insects from Spalding Labs. Their science-backed botanical fly spray is effective, smells great, and is formulated for horses and people. Switch to a fly spray you can feel good about and keep the bugs at bay. Learn more at spalding-labs.com.
Time to learn why some days you're embarrassed to be part of the human race. In Jamie's Weird News.
That's right. It's the time of the week where we just let you know what's happening all over the world to make you feel better about your situation, or at least better that you don't live in Florida, pretty much. But I would like to thank, okay, this is 2 weeks worth. So are you ready? Delia, Michelle, Laureen, Jolynn, Jamo, Shelly, I can't read my own handwriting, sorry. Shelly, Amanda, Angie, Debbie, Carrie, a different Amanda, Elizabeth, Gwyneth, Janelle, I think I said her already, Glenn, Allison, and another Jenny. So record number, thank you, people. And basically what that means is they were looking through the news and they were like, ooh, that's super weird. And they emailed it to weirdnews@horseradionetwork.com and just send me the link. And I appreciate all the help. And I will tell you that most people sent me one of two stories. And so we'll start with the one that the most people sent me. Okay, Glenn, we've done a lot of stories about people smuggling animals in through customs, right?
Right, yep.
What are some of the ones that you remember?
Oh, snakes, lizards, frogs.
Yeah.
Insects of all kinds.
Well, that's where we're going to go this time, okay? So in Germany, there was a package that came through that was being shipped to somebody in Germany from Vietnam. And so the custom officials find the shipment, and this is the Cologne Bonn airport, and they're like, what's that smell? Ugh. That has a, quote, noticeable smell. And it did not resemble the aroma of what the box was labeled as, because it said it was German sponge cake. So German sponge cake comes through the customs and they're like, that don't smell like cake. So they opened up the box. And what do you think it was?
I don't want to know. I really don't want to know.
1,500. 1,500 small plastic containers containing tarantulas.
Oh!
1,500 tarantulas somebody was trying to smuggle into Germany.
Oh, my God.
Most of them, shocker, were dead because you can't ship animals in plastic containers with no air or what. Just don't do that. So they had a ton of dead spiders, which of 1,500, there were still like 500 that were alive. Okay. So basically, the survivors of the spider survivors were given to the care of an expert handler, and they're estimating the value. They're trying to assess the value of the shipment. Now, criminal proceedings are underway against the intended recipient for this person who was supposed to receive said shipment. I don't know. So they said that they basically have handed them off to somebody else. I was like, do they just burn them all? Like, I would think you would, poor animals, have to like set them on fire, because animals like that what if one escapes and it's some sort of like Jurassic Park carrying, it's going to get 9 stories tall. I don't know. I've seen too many movies.
I got to tell you, we've been watching this show on YouTube. It's Australian Border Force is what it's called. And it's
I love that show.
Oh my God. The weird stuff the Asians, and I'm going to point out Asians because that's where all the weird food comes from. Yeah. The weird food they try and sneak in.
And eggs. And they're like shelled, hard-boiled eggs.
Seeds of all kinds, and just these plants that nobody even knows what they're for. I mean,
yes, I love, like I said, I love to look at police chase videos and airport security videos.
Yes, that's a good show. Australian Border Force. If you haven't tried it yet, give it a try, because they're kind of they always find drugs too. They're really good at finding drugs.
Oh, they find a lot of drugs. Well, hey, let's head to our favorite place,
Florida.
You got it. And more
where we
specifically,
swim with alligators.
Yes, where idiots jump in ponds without knowing if alligators are right at their feet. We're going to go to Key West this time. And what's funny is I actually used one of these in my wedding for the reception. And it was a conch train. The conch train tours that they have?
Yeah. We did them. Yeah.
It's like a little train, and they have little like pieces, and people drive them around and they give them a tour. They have a little speaker. I mean, it's so like senior citizen or Glenn.
It's very tourist town. Yeah.
Tourist.
All the cruise ship people to do it. Yep.
Well, there was a guy who his name was Jonathan Patrick Winslow, and it was his 57th birthday. And he went to the tour train depot around 11:30 a.m. on Friday. And he was like, hey, I used to work here like a long time ago. Do you guys mind if I come in and just reminisce a little bit around the trains? And the guy was like, sure, come on in. Well, what they didn't notice was he was very high on meth because drugs are bad. Don't do drugs. So because he used to work
West.
there.
It's like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
He apparently decided to hop in one and crank up the tunes and started blasting rock music on the inside of the conch train and starts driving around.
oh no.
Stole it, left the
They're like
depot.
150 feet long. I mean, it's like,
And I mean, you're going like 4 miles an hour. So he decides that he's just going to just take it. So he takes it. And apparently the employee watched him do it and he said, confused, thinking that he must have had permission to take the train. Well, he did not. So Winslow continues to drive around Key West, even picking up passengers.
this is the Key Westiest story I've ever heard.
I know, right? Finally,
This has every stereotype imaginable for Key West in it.
Yes, he's like taking people on the tour, and basically they realize that he's stolen it, and they have a GPS trackers on all of them, so they track him down. They
Well, it's not
send
hard
the
to find.
police.
It's 12 cars long. So
Exactly. And he probably only got 150 feet. And so the police are like, they draw their guns like, get out of the train. And he hops out and he's like, hey, man, I just borrowed it. Today's my birthday. And I used to work for the company. And then they searched his pockets and they found a meth pipe. And he's like, that's not mine.
Of course.
That's not mine. I don't know how this meth
Somebody
pipe
put that
ended up
there.
in my pocket. Must
That
have
is
been on
the
train.
most Key West story I've ever heard.
I thought you'd like that one. Okay, people are stupid everywhere. Okay, now we're going to go to Texas, which, by the way, aside from Florida, Texas had the second highest number of stories and submissions from the state of Texas. And this is in Wichita Falls, where Chad used to live because there's a military base there. And so there's a Texas woman is wanted for theft. Okay, there's a lady named Stephanie Davidson, and she was getting ready to fly back to her home in Wichita Falls when her neighbors who had access to like her security cameras, they were like watching her house, and they realized that there's somebody in the house. So they start calling the police and they send the pictures. And so 44-year-old Misty Cape was inside Stephanie's house, ransacking it and stealing stuff. Well, in the world of, they called the police, but of course, by the time the police got there, Misty was gone. Okay. So Stephanie has all the photos. And so she posts them on social media and she posts pictures. I mean, again, Wichita Falls is not a big town. So she's like, clearly someone's going to know this person. And so she posts a picture and it says, does anyone know who this trash is that's robbing my house while I'm out of town? Plane takes off. Plane lands. She logs onto the Facebook
God,
post.
that's a long plane ride for that lady. Just
right?
thinking about that the whole time.
When her plane landed, she logged onto her Facebook post that she posted, and somebody had written, people need to mind their own business. This woman called me trash just because I broke into her house and stole some stuff.
Oh
She
my
don't even
God.
know me, but she thinks it's okay to call me trash.
Oh my God.
She's promptly arrested.
She'll probably plead.
You're so stupid.
Can she just plead stupid? Maybe
Oh
that.
my God.
That needs to be a new
Yeah.
plead agreement. Stupid. Just
Oh my God, so stupid. I do love the court case videos too. And I'm just like, oh, bless your heart. So she saw her own picture and got offended that the lady called her trash. Oh, so good.
one more.
Okay, well, this is a quick one, but it's just to let you know. Remember I told you I rode around with some firemen a couple weeks ago?
Oh, yeah,
my
the Hot
friend.
Fireman Day. Yep.
Yeah, it was Hot Fireman Day, and I got to go on this ride, and we had 3 calls. And I just went to visit, and then they sounded the horn, and, it was sirens, and it was time to go, and I was like, okay, bye. And they were like, get in! Okay. So we went on 3 calls, and one was... There was somebody who had passed out giving blood at a blood drive in a parking lot. So we get there and they wave off the fire truck. And then we get word of a car accident, and we get there and 2 cars in a parking lot have hit mirrors, like side mirrors, and both knocked their mirror off.
Fire department for that?
They didn't, but somebody who saw it called 911.
Oh.
The third one was at a hotel. And so we get to the hotel, and basically somebody was getting in their car, and you know how you can accidentally hit 911 on your phone?
Yeah,
And
I've almost done that a few times.
Yeah, and it just dispatched them if you don't like answer it and say no, everything's fine. So that's when I was we're heading back to the station, and all the firemen are in the truck, and we've gone on 3 calls like 100 miles an hour, like on the wrong side, sirens going, and nothing happened. And the driver, my friend, turns to me and goes, some real hero stuff right here. I mean, I'm such a hero. So
you were just glad you got to drive around the fire truck.
Oh, it was so cool. I felt like I was like a 7-year-old. I was like, oh my God, can I flip the light? Like, it was so cool. So that reminded me, when I read this story, it reminded me of that. So in Boise, Idaho, abductions, they say, are no laughing matter, and it is a serious crime. So there's a guy, with the El Caminos, it's like a car with like a pickup truck hind end.
A pickup truck hind end, yeah.
Yeah, that thing. Okay, so there's an El Camino driving around.
It's amazing that there's still one driving around, to be honest.
I mean, it actually looks like it's in pretty good shape, because obviously these people restore things. So in the back of their El Camino, there's a woman who is tied in the back of the El Camino. She's like laying down. You can see her arms like kind of like, it's like she's laying on her, like her knees in the air. She's laying on her back, and she's got a plastic bag over her head, and clearly she's tied up. And so this dude was driving around with this woman tied, like with a plastic bag over her head, tied in the back of his El Camino, and people called the police like crazy. Everybody, they must have got 20 calls about this poor woman who's clearly being kidnapped in the back of his El Camino. So police, swarm, get up to it. It's a mannequin. Why
would he do that to himself? He knows people are going to call the police.
It reminded me of the time. So I have Steve, that big fiberglass horse that I use for my clinics. And it's like the time when I bought it in Texas. And the only way to get it back was in the pickup truck. But you can't like stand it up in the pickup truck. So he had to lay it on its back. And so when he drove home from Texas, there were 4 legs in the air. It looked like a dead horse pulling in. So you never know. You know what? Be safe. Call the police. It's okay. They've been called out for worse.
Well, while you're gone, I do good news stories on the Wednesdays that you're out. And I've been getting a lot of comments from people saying you should end every show that way. We need good news, especially this year. Okay. So I'll do that. But first, if you have weird news, send it to where?
Weird news at horseradionetwork.com.
Okay, so here's the good news story to end today. Ian Burke is a postal worker, and he was doing his route, and he, postal workers meet dogs, some friendly, some not. Well, he made friends with this dog's name. I love this name, Pretty Boy Floyd. He was a border collie mix and was on his regular route, and he saw the dog every day. And then he got transferred, and he wasn't on that route anymore. And a year went by, and he heard through another mail carrier that Pretty Boy Floyd's owner had died. He was an elderly Vietnam veteran, had died, and the dog was at the pound, had just been brought to the pound. He went out to the pound, the postal guy went out to the pound the next morning. He said they opened at 10. He was there at 9:50 to make sure that he was the first one in, that nobody else would get Floyd. And he ended up adopting Floyd. So Ian Burke, the postal worker, is now adopted Pretty Boy Floyd. And so thank you for that. That's a good news story, right? You know what happened? When my mother died, they had a Schnauzer. And none of us wanted the Schnauzer. That was the barkiest dog I've ever seen in my life. But my mom had an in-home nurse that would come and visit, fell in love with the Schnauzer, and she took the Schnauzer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I mean, it was perfect for us. Otherwise, I think Jennifer and I would have ended up with the Schnauzer. And I know a lot of you like Schnauzers. This was just the barkiest dog I've ever met.
Well, my mom had a Yorkie.
Another barky dog.
Super tiny one. And my brothers, got her this dog a few years ago, right? So it's like maybe 2, because they thought it would make her more active. Well, she ended up just not ever taking it outside. So it's completely not potty trained. Oh. It has no manners. It's never had a lick of training in its life. And so when my mom's in the hospital, the discussion is, what do we do with the dog? And I was like, not it. Not it.
You bought it.
I didn't want the dog in the first place. Yeah. My mom, she did not need a puppy, first of all. Second
hey,
of
brother,
all,
you bought it. It's your dog.
Exactly. And third of all, they were like, but you're the one that has all the dogs, so you could take care of it. And I was like, if you want that tiny, tiny little dog to come to me and get eaten by a hawk when I put it out in the backyard, that's fine. And so the
horse would walk on it, not even know.
Yes. My big, tough brother, who's a plumber, big, tough, burly, non-animal having, loves the damn dog.
Can you imagine him walking down the street, walking his Yorkie?
Oh, he does all the time. It does all the time because, of course, nobody ever taught the dog how to walk on a leash. So it's on one of those stringy leashes that pulls out, which are the worst. And it just runs everywhere. And he just walks and smokes. The dog just runs back and forth to the end of the line. And then he goes home. Yeah. So, yeah, it happens. It's a thing.
It's a thing. All right, auditors, hang on. We're going to do a short post show. Our regular show ran a little long today, and I have another one to do today. But Jamie had an adventure yesterday or the day before she's going to tell us about. Well, and we'll be back here on Friday with some really bad ads. Get them over to Jennifer at horseradionetwork.com. And the Equine Affair episode will be with you tomorrow.
Spay, neuter, and gel.